What's going on, people? Welcome back to the channel. KG is back. Match preview time. I thought I'd give you a little preview of the Leeds United versus Manchester City game coming this weekend. Different ramifications at both the top and the bottom, but listen, just before we get into it, as you know the drill, people, smash a like on the video, whether you're watching it live or on the playback. Do that. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. It's going to be a big game this weekend. And I don't know what everyone's thoughts are. I don't know what everyone's hopes are for the game, but I'm just going to give you a few of mine and also just touch over a few things what Jesse Marsh said at his press conference, pre-match press conference today. Um, Matt, a preview, unusual, yeah, feeling like that. And in Frank Sinatra's song "High Hopes," here's the hope and faith of maybe a Saturday evening miracle. Yeah, it would be a miracle. Sporting Central UK, if we want to try and get a draw, drop click and put Pascal next to KP. Simple. I mean, Strike is another one. It doesn't really work in defensive midfield, but I get what you're saying. Matt Dave saying Cock and Strike are no good in DM. I'd rather see energy in bait. Bait. Imagine that if after all of this bait stuff, that I've been peddling on this channel, he gets a start against Man City. It just would be in the script, wouldn't it? But listen, hopefully today's a bit better. We had a good debrief yesterday between us, and good evening to everyone that's coming in now. Good evening to Jack. Joseph Gladmar said we'd be pragmatic. Yep. Vic Vinegar, how are we doing today, KJ? What t-shirt rocking today? It's Penguins, baby. It's playoff season soon, so Penguins all the way. But yeah, listen, we noted it last night. The chat was a little bit fried, to say the least. It was much more like a Twitter space than it was a YouTube space. I'd not seen a chat like it in some time. It was people bickering, there was somebody offering someone out in Leeds City Centre. That's how bad it got. But I think that it's a culmination of a lot of things, isn't it? It's a culmination of where we are in the league. It doesn't help the style of football we're playing, the fact that Burnley have been picking up points. I think it's just built up a bit of trepidation in the fan base, and people just don't know who or what to point at to blame for where we are right now. So, and they're looking at our upcoming games and thinking, how are we going to get anything from those? It's all mad right now in the fan base, and I said it on the debrief yesterday, but we had 3 great years with Bielsa where it just seemed like everybody in the fan base was on the same page. We were all going in the same direction, loving life, loving football, loving Leeds United together. And now it just feels like it was before Bielsa got here, where everything's all fractured and everything. But listen, we'll see what we can do. Hopefully, the chat's in a much better mood tonight. We can all get along today. We don't all have to agree, but let's disagree in peace. But yeah, listen, I've already said, I've put it in the title. It's take that settings. We're gonna have to pray on this one, people, because Man City are not just one of the best teams in England. They're one of the best teams in the world. And I go to that game against Real Madrid a couple nights ago. The game of the season for me is probably one of the best games I've seen in a long time, just for the quality of the finishes. And you look at those guys there, and they are streets ahead of even their nearest rivals in someone like Chelsea or Spurs, let alone Leeds United. So it's tough to look at it any other way than a loss right now for me. I'll be honest. I don't know if anyone else feels that we can probably get something. Jack Wilson saying City are under pressure, Liverpool breathing down the necks, ripe for the taking. See, I don't see them like that, Jack, because they've got elite mentalities. I think if you're talking about any other club besides Man City, I would probably agree. But these guys are just drilled. And I mentioned it yesterday. KDB played the full 90 minutes against Real Madrid, and they'll definitely want him to play in the second leg. But even if he doesn't start, and he is an actual world class player, they're going to have players that are hungry behind him that are looking to make an impression. Grealish, who hasn't scored in so long, he'll be looking to make an impression. Sterling, who started on the bench against Madrid, he'll want to make an impression. So even their second team is not a normal second team, people. I'm not even going to compare our bench to theirs because there's just no point. But their bench is better than Man United's, for instance, a bigger club. So we're talking about what can we do to get into them. And I just want to go to Jesse Marsh's comments today. Let me just see. Let me just get a couple more views. Yeah, I mean, Vic Vinegar, listen to that. Even their second team would challenge for the title. Yeah, gosh, man. Yeah, it's mad. It's actually mad when you look at their second team, and you got to think as well. Cancelo was suspended for the first game against Madrid. They'll want him to probably get in some game time, and let's be fair, there's probably no better team to get their game time in against than Leeds United before they go to Real Madrid. So yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. But yeah, Jesse Marsh made a couple of interesting comments today. Um, I know straight after the game against Palace, he says we're going to go for it. I said yesterday straight away, we're never going to go for it against Man City. He's not going to do that. And he clarified that today. He says we're going to be more pragmatic. We're going to be pesky. I think that's the word he used a few times. Um, we're going to have to be. That's the only way. Because I said it yesterday as well. But if we go 1-0 up, just say we go 1-0 up early on in the game, just say after 2 minutes we somehow break forward and get a goal, I think that's bad news. They say it's never a bad time to score, and I do agree with some points, but I think if we go 1-0 ahead, I think Man City are going to take it personally. I do. And I think they might just absolutely pound us into the dust. But the way he's talking, he doesn't. I don't think he clarified if Mateus Click is going to start. I don't know who's going to be there. If it's Robin Koch, I've got concerns there again. Lewis Bate, I've called for him to start, but I think it would be really tough to put him in against this Manchester City team. Being completely honest, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to see in what scenario we can win. Bandy saying this game will tell us about Marsh. I don't buy into that, Bandy. I don't agree with that. In just like I wouldn't measure it against even if Bielsa was still here. I don't think you can measure our current team against for what Jesse Marsh would probably want to do. And again, another comment I want to bring up what he made today is something I've said on here is that it's points over style, and he's because that's what we have to do right now. And he said that today in this pre-match press conference, and I get it. I completely get it. It is about a points over style, but I get people's concern with the style bit. But for me, I don't care if it's ugly. We could have 5% possession on Saturday. But if we somehow get out a 1-0 win, you will not hear me complain one bit about possession stats. Forget all that. It's about getting a point. But let's be honest. How many people realistically stop Man City, especially when they've got so much to play for? It's going to be tough. It is going to be very, very tough. Sean Hartley, Dirty Leeds are back and they are up for the fight. Well, that's it. That's what he's talking about in the pesky. He wants Ayling. He wants those guys to get into him a little bit. He wants them to try and put him off as much as he can. We talk about crowd atmospheres, and I don't think the Elland Road crowd is going to make a difference against Man City. They went to Atletico Madrid just a couple of weeks ago, and that crowd is raucous. That crowd is very, very hostile, and they decided to play Atletico Madrid at their own game. That's elite mentality. That's why they're at the top, and that's why they just keep winning things. So you have to admire. You have to admire what they can do. What they do overall in terms of just winning games. They're just relentless. They're just a machine at this point. Um, yeah, Joseph, he does love the word aggressive. Yeah, yeah. That is a US sports thing. A lot of US coaches use the aggressive term. Um, I mean, he mentioned that Crysencio Somerville's out with an ankle injury for the season, so he's done. Bamford, Tyler Roberts is done. Bamford could be back. You know my thoughts on that Bamford thing, though. People, I'm not really pleased with the way it's being worded. I'll be honest. If he thinks that he's ready to come back for the last two games against Brighton and Brentford, then what's going on with these three games against Man City, Arsenal, and Chelsea? It just seems a little bit sus to me. That's all I'll say. Um, but yeah, something else that came up was the long throwing, and I had a message off Joe actually, and I know Joe is very staunch. Wishes Bielsa was still here, um, and I know a couple of other people have commented about it too. But for me, I hear it differently, and I can only go from my point of view. When he says that we need another weapon in our arsenal, which is what he's talking about with the long throw, so they had a long throw competition to see who could throw the longest. For me, I hear that as the team is just so low on quality that we have to find any other avenue and any other bit of juice we can get out of this current team to get some kind of results. That's what I hear from that. I don't hear it as a thing that he actually wants to do or is proud of. I think it's just that the fact that the team is so low on quality that if we can get a long throw and get a goal off that, that he'd be happy. That is all I got from it. I don't get the whole. I don't get it as a he's such a bad coach that we're reverting to long throws. I don't see it that way. I just see it as a quality issue, people. I see it as a man that's kind of running out of ideas with this current group, which is what I said. I said it from time. I said once the running goes from this team, it's very, very limited. Once that one touch football goes without the energy and speed to get up to the game, it's going to be very tough for a lot of these guys. And I think he's just looking for another avenue. But people in the chat now, let me know what you thought of it. If you've heard of the comment about the long throws, and if you think that there's more to it than what I've said, then please let me know. I'm always interested to hear what people are thinking. And I mentioned it in my match reaction against Crystal Palace, but Palace had a lot of the ball in that game, and Man City are notorious for having large possession. I don't know where we're going to get the ball from, and considering our group can't pass, string three passes together, I just don't see where we go in this game. I honestly don't. Honestly, don't. Patrick Bamford's in the chat and he says, I'm leaving Leeds United, my friend. Well, there's an exclusive for you all. Patrick Bamford, thank you for everything you did, Pat, but wish you well in the summer. um, let's have a look. I mean, John Knox, Man City are leaky at the back. Do we have anyone who will take advantage of that? Man City are leaky at the back, John. I don't know about that, John. Let me just have a look at some. Let me just check some while you're there. Oh, there we go. Man City, John. You said Man City are leaky at the back. Yeah, Watford got a goal. Brighton didn't get a goal. Liverpool got two. Burnley didn't get one. Palace didn't get one. Man United got one. Everton didn't score. Spurs beating 3-2. Norwich didn't score. I don't know about this leaky thing. I think if you talk about Real Madrid, they have Vinicius Jr. and they've got Benzema. We don't have those. I was joking saying maybe Dan James can go past Fernandinho and score, but who knows what he'll do with that first touch though. Has Haribo, afternoon KG. I think Marsh is honest at least. He knows our team is blown apart. He knows it. I read between the lines, and you have to have been around certain types of people in order to do that. I'm not saying I'm correct, but I can tell when he's talking, he does not think that this group of players is good enough. He doesn't. I can see, and you've heard it through as the weeks are going on now. There's not so much of the greatest group of lads I've ever coached, or there's such a great group. He's literally ringing us now until the end of the season. He's not talking about a great group. We're now having to talk about what happened with him and Mateus Klick, why he got subbed at half time. We're having to talk about why Dallas is frustrated. We're having to talk about Calvin Phillips's lack of smiling, even though he's not, contracted to smile. He's not a bloody performing seal, but I get what people are saying. There's different questions to be answered now, and it's because he doesn't believe in the quality of the squad. And I'm glad if that's the case. I'm definitely glad, because we cannot see a lot of these guys next season. But I think that's where it's coming from, which is, harmony here, harmony in the house. Marsh long-term plan. Turn us into a cross between Burnley and Stoke. I hope that's not the case, Harmony. But this is what I'm saying. I've repeated it again, but I just feel I have to say it again. That is why I want to give this guy the summer and see who he brings in order to replace some of these players in the first 11. That's when I feel he can be fully judged, because, again, these are not his players. None of them, not even one. He hasn't signed any of these guys. So for me, it's about seeing what happens in the summer. I'm not married to the Jesse Marsh being the coach. If it comes to it, and I mentioned it yesterday, but if it came to it and we survive at the end of the season, it turns out the players and him aren't meshing very well, and the board think, well, it might be easy just to get rid of this one coach and just build again. I'm not opposed to that. I don't think we've got the emotional attachment like we did with Bielsa. I don't see that. So I think it would be easier for people to move on. But it still doesn't negate the fact I think it was the right option to get someone like him in, a motivator, more than just an out and out coach, because he's definitely different from Bielsa. But again, I don't want to blame him for what we're doing, but we're getting results. That's the main thing right now. We're getting results. Yeah, Philip, Rafinha. Philip, was it you yesterday that was offering someone to fight? Was it you? I'm not sure. I may have got that wrong, but Rafinha is our best player and now your best thrower. Congratulations to him. Yeah. You would hope that it would be somebody else throwing it to Rafinha so he can knock it down or something and do his magic rather than him being the thrower. That's where I think that bit goes a little bit wonky. And the thing was, his throw wasn't even that long anyway. So what does that say for the other players? I don't know. Um, Beefy saying, KG, would you take a chance on Fopo, need Dallas in midfield? I would, but it sounds like, again, Jesse Marsh's comments today, he said that Fopo is getting there, but he's not sure if Man City is the game that to bring him back into. So it sounds like Jesse Marsh isn't very sure on Fopo starting in this kind of game. So I think we may see Dallas back at left back for this game. So that's just my reading. Maybe he'll go with Firpo, and because he was questioned later then about Dallas being in the six next to Calvin Phillips, and he said that he hasn't had the chance to see him there. So who knows? But I would definitely put a more natural left back in Firpo at the start, just to give us some natural balance in the team. Um, yeah, got a super chat here. Rico, thanks for the super chat. In my opinion, Jesse Marsh is focusing on off the ball work as that was the short term problem when he joined. Stop us conceding and keep us up on the ball is long term. Yeah, I completely agree with that. He's in one instance he's definitely shored us up defensively. We're definitely better. We're not rock solid as the stats suggest. We if you watch the games, you can see there is definitely ways to get at us, but he stopped one end. But unfortunately, you do need to score goals as well. So we do need to find a way of stringing a few passes together. My thing would be if you can keep Rodrigo on for 90 minutes, keep him on because he's going to be the one that can link you from that attacking central midfield and into whoever's up front, whether it's Dan James, Sam Greenwood, or Joe Gelhart. That's what I would say. Uh, yeah. I mean, let's have a look. Jack Wilson, we lack quality, and Jesse is just trying not to put the spotlight on it. Yeah, he's trying to dress up a turd. You know that old saying, you can put lipstick on a pig or whatever. That's what he's trying to do. I genuinely, that's what I see when I see him talking. I genuinely see that, and I think we're going to see come to summer. The proof will be in the pudding. Come to summer, and we see who stays and who goes. I think that's the only way that we'll definitely know, but I just don't think he believes in a lot of these players. And maybe some of the players don't believe in him too. Maybe it's a two-way street, but we'll find out soon. Sean O'Sullivan, always great, honest content, KG. Always, man. Always honest. Always honest. Yeah, Gil, this Bielsa versus Marsh debate is driving me insane. Yeah, I do my best. I do my best to try not to mention Bielsa when I can. I mean, I said it on the debrief yesterday. I've muted so many topics on Twitter because it's toxic, man. It's absolutely toxic. The whole Bielsa Marsh. We've got to move on. Have to. We can't get him back. We've got a new coach now. We've got these games coming up. Let's just focus on the future. That's the problem, though. Fan base loves looking back. You're still getting people saying they wish Alioski was still here, Pablo Hernandez. I mean, when are you going to move on? Got to move on, people. But yeah, I hear you completely, Gil. Um, oh, Philip, yeah, it was you. Was it? It must have been a bad day, Philip, man, because I've never seen you offer anybody out in Leeds Town Centre. That was all mad. That was all mad, Phil. We all have those off days. uh, How's Haribo? I'm thinking swap James for Rafinha. Rafa up front, James right wing. Nah, you see, the thing is, I always thought that the Rafinha at 10 experiment might work because we haven't seen it before, and I thought he's a talented enough guy that maybe he could adapt. But it's quite obvious that Rafinha is a wide player. He's an inside forward. That's his best position. That's where he does his best work. So I wouldn't go with playing Rafinha centrally. I'd keep him out on the wing. Problem is, Jesse Marsh doesn't really play with wingers, so that's where that comes in also. There's just a lot of square pegs round holes yet again. We're stuck with it again, aren't we? So uh yeah, what's this done right now? You might, yeah, let me put you in timeout, man. I think you need a little timeout in the corner down rant tonight. I don't know what's going on there still. Uh Josh with the super chat. Once again, thank you for the support on the channel, man. It means a lot. Um Fine. Coming in late, so maybe you cover this. Do you think Calvin would be better off having the defensive midfield to himself? Yes, but only if you've got the wingers to let him spray the ball out to. So at this point in time, no, because then if he's by himself and we playing narrow, I know Jesse tries to deny that we play narrow, but it's quite clear that we do. I just don't know where he would go. You can have Calvin in a double pivot, and this is another thing that it's crazy to think. You can play him in a double pivot like he does for England, but you've got to have a player of that similar quality next to him or better. You know, arguably Declan Rice is better than Calvin Phillips. But it works well when you've got players of quality. But when you're trying to work with Robin Koch, who is not a six, if when you're trying to work with Mateus Click, who's not a six, it's gonna look funky. And let's be fair to Calvin Phillips too. He's only just come back from a long-term injury, and that was his first game. He came through 90 minutes. It's great to see, but he's not going to, and he's said himself, he's getting used to the system. So for me, Calvin will thrive in a double pivot, but you've got to get him a midfield partner who is of quality. And there's not, I don't see how people don't see that. He's a good player. Listen, there's a reason why Manchester United are sniffing around him. You don't you don't get sniffed by it. You can joke about Man United all you want, but when those teams are after you, it means something. They're not going to come in for him for no reason. Even Arsenal fans have been wondering about Calvin Phillips to try and reunite him with Ben White. So it tells you something that he's a player of quality. But when you don't surround, look at Rafinha. Look at Rafinha's stats this season. If you put Rafinha in a better team, Rafinha's in double figures in everything, the goals and assists. I guarantee it. But he's looking a little funky right now because of first of all the system change and the talent around him. So yeah, I think just give him a good partner. Give him a good partner. Uh, mm, let's have a look. Let's have a look. Yeah, I've got him blocked now. Bandy. Bandy. Marsh will probably play Lord Bamford at left back. Why is he not playing the why is he why not he's playing the wingers out of position? Well, we've been playing people out of position all season long. This is nothing new, people. Let's not do this. Uh, Jason saying, guys, can we agree that we need to upgrade in the transfer window? Yes. I can't see us staying up next season without some serious refreshments. Yeah, absolutely. We'd be one of the worst teams in the league by far. By far. It wouldn't even be close. Unless Luton Town or Huddersfield are one of the two that come up from the playoffs, yeah, we'd definitely be one of the worst teams in the league. So, man. But yeah, listen, people. Man City game. Let's just. I don't want to go too long, so let me get some score predictions. Let's get some score predictions for the game on Saturday. Yeah, a few. Yeah, you always get a few in there tonight, Joseph. It's a bit mad. Jared KG handle that debrief. Big ups. Yeah, yeah, it's mad. So, yeah, it was a weird one yesterday. I gotta say, yeah, it was a mad one yesterday. Hopefully that it was just a one off, but yeah, Wow, look at some of these score predictions. Oh my days. Mark Campbell, 2-0 City. Ray is saying 1-3 to Man City. Jared Fletcher, 4-0. I'm assuming that's the City. John Redmond, 5-0. 5-0. Chris, 5-1. Benjo, 3-1 City. Damn. Yeah, it's all mad. T85, a Desmond going for a 2-2 draw. This is what I said though yesterday when someone said 2 goals. Who's scoring those 2 goals against Man City? Be interesting to hear who you think could get 2 goals against them. Blinky Fish is saying best we can be hoping for is a 0-0. Oh my days, that would be. See how we looked at the Crystal Palace result and some people weren't happy. We probably celebrate a 0-0 against Man City like it was 3 points. PSF, no prediction, but I'm hopeful. Hey, get off the fence, PSF. You're better than that. Come on. Jack Wilson leads to City 0. Oh, I'd love to see it. Beefy saying a smash and grab 0-0 draw. God damn. Wow. David Finney, heart says draw, head says 0-4. Yeah. Listen, I've predicted a 3-0. I've gone for an optimistic 3-0 loss. Obviously, you know the draw. I hope that they prove me wrong. But I can't lie and say that in the back of my head, I do think it may be a high score. And that's just purely from the fact that we concede. I just take the Palace game, for instance, the possession, the chances we conceded. Man City get those kind of chances, they're going in the net. So I'm not very hopeful on this one. Like I say, we just need to take that settings and pray. I just don't see where we're going to get a win from. But if we can do it, what a result. Trav is asking, KG, who in the City team would you say have hot heads and we can target to get sent off? Fernandinho would be one. He'd be one. Jack Grealish is another. But again, I think that before it even gets there, I think that Pep would just get in their ear. And if they don't calm down, he'd just sub them off. It's just different levels. It's different gravy with those kind of players. They're just used to this. And Pep will prepare from that. You should have seen, I mean, again, going back to that Atletico Madrid game, Phil Foden getting kicked up and down the pitch, but he didn't bite back. He just got on with it while Atletico were losing their heads. The first leg against Atletico, Jack Grealish comes on a sub. They're kicking him all over the place. Jack's just like, fine. You see, it's a mentality thing. They know what they've got to do. They know what they have to do. But yeah, listen, people. Let's just see if there's any other comments. Yeah, Benj is saying, yeah, Edison looks a bit dodgy under pressure. We need to have it in that area of the pitch, though. That's the problem. We need to get there first. We need to get in the area, and where are we going to get? When are we going to manage to get into that area of the pitch? It's hard to see, isn't it? Especially if we got Dan James again up front. It's very, very tough to see that. So, yeah, it's very, very tough to see it because it does sound like he's going to go with Dan James up front yet again. Against Laporte, Diaz, Stones, whoever you put there, come on, it's not looking good. It's not looking good. But all we can do is hope. I hope that we can do something. I hope that we can do something. Yeah, Jason, there's always buts. There's always buts. It's annoying, but what can you do? What can you do? Philip Anderson, just to end on this one, people, 157 in here. Come on, everyone, smash a like. Yeah, please smash a like for me. If you're watching now, if you're watching the replays, do that also. And that's the best way to help the channel. And yeah, you know what? I will see you all after the Manchester City game. Come rain or shine on Saturday. So join me for my live match reaction straight after the game. You know how it goes. And yeah, people, get your score predictions in the comments on the video too, people. But peace out, and I'll see you Saturday night.